I saw Nancy before the ceremony started and gave her a hug, and she said, "We have to be strong." I don't think that was for her. I think that was for me. Sarah, Gigi, Grace, Isabel, Mary, Scott, and Elizabeth, family members, extended family members, Bravo Company, and the 82nd Airborne. Mr. Vice President and Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. There's a plaque in the kitchen of Michael's house, and it lists 3 of his brothers from the 82nd Airborne who were killed in action during his unit's deployment in 2009 in Afghanistan. But at the top of the plaque, there's a quote from General Patton that reads, "It is foolish and wrong to mourn these men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men once lived." Now, Susan and I haven't missed a single day of mourning since Mike's death. When we received word from Sarah the evening Mike left us. But for the next few minutes, I want to honor General Patton's command and tell you why I thank God Mike once lived. But first, I've got to clear the air about one of Michael's missions. Michael was born in Rhode Island in 1985, while I was living just up the road in Boston. Michael grew up a huge New England Patriots fan, and I grew up a huge Miami Dolphins fan. I moved to Boston disliking the Patriots because of the famous snowplow game of 1982, which I post at the beginning of every NFL season, just so people don't forget it. And I even grew up to hate them. I disliked them when I got to New England. I ended up hating them because I married into a bunch of Patriots fans, and I endured the endless squish the fish chants from the 1980s because of that great rivalry back then. So in spite of Michael's huge lapse in judgment on the issue of the Patriots, I love my wife's family, and I love Mike Verardo. Michael's love for the Patriots was just one of several missions of his life. Like so many missions in his life, when he is committed, he is committed. Michael had a mission to attract the attention of this pretty girl in high school. Took him years to get it done, but somehow he convinced Sarah to marry him and also to create these 3 beautiful girls in front of me. He was 16 years old when America suffered the deadly attacks on 9/11, and thus began Michael's mission to join the U.S. Army. You heard before, he actually had to have surgery in order to go into the Army. And then he went on to be an infantryman and a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne. Mission accomplished, Michael. Michael's unit was deployed to Afghanistan in 2009, not long after arriving there. Some of Michael's friends got injured, and in fact, just before his mortal injury, he was injured. He could have gone home. He could have come stateside and healed up, but not Mike. He was committed to that mission that sent him to Afghanistan. So after he returned to battle, he suffered devastating wounds from a second IED attack in April of 2010. Many of his brothers thought his wounds would take Michael from us, but Michael made it his mission to survive. Michael returned to the U.S. He not only began the mission of recovery for himself, but he married Sarah. He expanded his mission to raise a family, and he helped his brothers and sisters who experienced the visible and invisible wounds of war. Michael underwent countless surgeries to recover from his wounds, and he and Sarah brought these 3 beautiful girls, and they came right by his side. And y'all loved your daddy, didn't you? And then he worked so hard to get back to so many others who were injured. Now, it was actually Sarah that reached out to Susan many years ago because she'd heard of Susan's work for military couples at Fort Bragg, and they wanted to help. That's when the blessing of my friendship with Michael began. Michael and Sarah helped secure donations, and they showed up for the baby showers where volunteers gather for first-time parents to fill baby bundles to be given to new military families at Fort Bragg. Many times Michael would be there in person. Sometimes his injuries were such that he joined by phone or video, but he was always there. I developed a deep admiration for a man who could have easily been consumed by what for many of us would have been insurmountable challenges. But he soldiered on by finding ways to be a good dad, a good husband, a good friend. Michael and I became fast friends, and we talked many, many times. But like Michael, always looking for a mission, he took on another one when I was running for re-election in 2020. That man went to the polls to hand out flyers and encourage people to vote for me every single day the polls were open. Michael's kindness and determination caught the eye of his opponent's supporters, in fact, Cal Cunningham's, at the polls. So much so, they became friendly to him. They offered him water and actually rides to the polls. Mission accomplished, Michael. We won. Over the years since we first met, I visited Michael in the hospital and at home when his wounds were getting the better of him. Several times I'd look Michael in the eyes and I told him he had to keep marching. And he'd kind of open those eyes up big, and you saw that he knew that he was back on mission. He could have easily given up on that battlefield in Afghanistan, but he'd not completed his mission, so he soldiered on. Michael could have returned to the U.S. and looked inward, but instead he made it his mission to meet the challenges of his injuries, to raise a family and to help others. Michael never fully recovered from his wounds on that battlefield, but he did not let that get in the way of continuing so many missions for so many people for so many years. He did it for those he loved, and he continued to live for those who loved him. Mission accomplished, my friend. Now's the time for you to receive your commendation as you enter the kingdom of heaven. Sarah, Grace, Mary, Scott, and Elizabeth, God has blessed you by having Michael in your life. May God continue to bless you by your memories of a wonderful husband, a father, a friend, and a patriot. As General Patton once advised, we should all think that a man like Michael once lived.